Hey everyone, this is Matt, and in today's video I have for you a reaction video. That's right, reaction for the new Master Duel ban list. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, we just got a new ban list drop that's gonna basically take place starting April 9th. So the April 2023 Master Duel ban list. I did not do a reaction to the OCG ban list. Basically, I don't have strong feelings about the OCG, and they didn't really do anything that crazy over there. I mean, they finally caught up with the TCG in the fact that they finally limited out all of Tearlaments and the Ishizu cards, so that hopefully that deck will finally die in the OCG. And I think the only other spicy thing in the OCG was I think Skildrian went to one, but which was really random. But then again, they gutted all the other decks, so it's not really that big a deal. But what is the big deal is the Master Duel ban list, not because of what's on it, but because of what's not on it. So I already got a bunch of all the trolls coming out of the woodwork, being like, "Ha ha, trap decks, lost, whatever, whatever." The trolls came out in full force as soon as the ban list dropped. In my comment section, talking about, "Oh, what are trap decks gonna do now?" Blah 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 blah, monkey flip, right? And honestly, I don't give a shit about a skill drain, rivalry, and goes and going to one. And you know why I don't give a shit? Because at my locals, I play in a format called Jank format where every floodgate is banned, and I still top there using trap decks. So again, it doesn't matter. What does matter is what's not on this ban list. That's the thing. Konami really doesn't understand what they're doing when they put out ban lists like this. So let's get into it, and I'll talk about how so. So let's first go to the unlimited cards because I have a few I guess opinions about this. So multi faker is coming back to 3. I think it was at 1 or 2. I never understood why it was ever limited or semi-limited to begin with. Yeah, Ultra Guys is a solid deck. Never thought it was oppressive. And the problem with that deck was never multi-faker. It was always some most annoying card is Silk Witches, and yeah, that's about it. It's not a problematic card. So yeah, this can come back to unlimited. It's been a limited TCG. Ultra Guys does nothing because it's strictly worse than Labrynth. It's honestly, it might even be worse than Trap Tricks at this point. Soul Eating Oviraptor at 3, I think that's fine. I don't know why it was ever not at 3. So again, the Master Duel ban list typically mirrors the OCG a lot more because a lot of the bans and limits and semi-limits are similar there. And basically, Oviraptor has been I think semi-limited or limited on the OCG for a long time. I never understood why when there are more problematic cards like Miscellaneous Saurus. I think Oviraptor is fine. I think Miscellaneous Saurus is a problem. So I think Miscellaneous Saurus should be at 1. I think Oviraptor should be at 3, just like it is in TCG. That's my opinion. Super Poly has been at 2 for forever. I don't know why. This card can easily be at 3. Does it mess up a lot of boards like Branded and whatever? Yeah, but I mean, it's called Super Polymerization, right? You play a card, you discard another card, and then you fuse 2 monsters. And there's not always a lot of really good Super Poly targets. And in fact, when Tearlaments comes out, Tearlaments doesn't care that much about Super Poly because all their monsters have floating graveyard effects, so it doesn't matter, right? So yeah, Super Poly finally it's at 3 again. I mean, I enjoy playing Super Poly in my hero deck, so yeah, if I ever play heroes, I would like to have Super Poly at 3. I'm surprised they didn't put Fusion Destiny at 3, but whatever. Divine Wind of Mist Valley. I don't know what this card is. If you know in the comment section, go ahead and tell me what it does. I have no opinions about this whatsoever, but I don't see why it would not be at 3 because I'm pretty sure this card is not on any ban list in the TCG, and it's fine. Galatea. I didn't even know Galatea was limited or semi-limited. I think this is fine. Orcus is kind of a not that great a deck. It's it's whatever. It's kind of an old deck. So yeah, you want to put at 3? Don't care. Yeah, I think Gearsu's still at 1 anyway, which is kind of funny. Spell of Good Judgment 3, I think fine. I think it's already at 3 in TCG or something. Whatever. Spiral Quick Fix. Quick Fix is not even a problem. Master Plan is the biggest problem with Spiral. So yeah, any card that is not Master Plan can honestly just be at 3 probably for Spiral. So anyway, semi-limited, and I'll talk about semi-limited and limited simultaneously. So once again, all right. So let's talk about cards limited. Oh, Skill Drain limited 1, Rivalry 1, Goes in 1, Herald Orange Lights 1, Flute, Magnus and Mats 1. Skill Drain, Rivalry, and Goes in to 1 don't matter that much because again, for 2 reasons. 1, there's plenty of floodgates out there that can replace these. 2, these aren't even going to be that great of floodgates in the upcoming Tearlaments format, where floodgates like Necro Valley is going to be better and way more important, or even Soul Drain. Soul Drain is going to be significantly better than Skill Drain in the upcoming Tearlaments format. So don't even mind that much. Herald of Orange Light. This is a nerf preceding, a preemptive nerf. Basically, this card was way too good with Ishizu Tearlaments. I mean, it's too good with Ishizu like right now. So putting it to 1, I think, is fine. It just gives way too much interaction, right? It's like it used to be a cost, like you send Herald of Orange Light to the graveyard with a fairy. You neg on this play to negate and destroy one of your opponent's cards, right? So, but now that you're not negging anymore. You're like netting positive. You're getting more resources out of sending the fairy, right? So yeah, so this card is problematic. It's they put it at 1 in the TCG as part of a band-aid like non-fix for the Tearlaments issue. So I'm glad they put this at 1. And then Flaunder's Magnificent Map. What did Flaunderies do to deserve this? Honestly, like Flaunderies has not been an issue since they banned Barry's Tattoo. So I don't understand. I mean, maybe they just don't want anyone playing Flaunderies when Tier comes out, because Flaunderies does dumpster Tier like super hard. And they're like just preemptively putting it at 1 for some reason. Like I don't get it. Like, was the Duelist Cup overrun with Flu? Because I almost never ran into Flu, and when I ran into Flu, I would beat them. So no idea what this Flu Magnificent Map limit is for. Oh, and the semi-limits. So let's talk about the semi-limits. So once again, we have the most milquetoast, like worthless semi-limits you can imagine. Runick Fountain of 2, Runick Tip of 2, Necroface of 2. Okay, so Necroface of 2 is significant because like when it was at 3, banishing 15 cards is way better than banishing 10 cards. So, right? So putting it to 2 is fine, and you're less likely to hit it on your mill in your 60-card mill decks. Thunder Dragon Hawk, I don't. Wait, it was at 1. Oh, now it's at 2. Okay, sure, like whatever. Runick Tip, Runick Fountain. Again, the problem is. Again, I'm not looking at this. What's on this list? I'm looking at what's not on this list. What's not on this list is the aggravating part, right? Why is Runick Fountain at 2? It should go to 1. Why is Runick Tip at 2? It should go to 1. All these like little, like love tap hits to Runick, putting all the cards. It doesn't matter. Put them to 1. Like people in the Master Duel subreddit are some of the tiniest brains people imaginable. They'll try to convince you that, oh, see, people hate Runick not because of the Runick cards that make you banish your entire deck, but because of the floodgates. Yes, it's the floodgates that makes Runick annoying to deal with. No, Runick is just annoying, period, right? Case in point. Remember that before Runick was released, can you recall any floodgate deck, be it Inspector Border Stun, maybe Eldritch with a bunch of floodgates, or any other trap deck that abused the hell out of floodgates and quickly rose its way to the top tier of the ranking in Master Duel, either through the Duelist Cup or in the ranked ladder? The answer to that is no. There's never been a stun deck or a back row deck or any deck that used floodgates that ever topped the Duelist Cup or ranked ladders or whatever in Master Duel, except for Runick. So what changed between not having Runick and when before Runick was released and after Runick? And remember, before Runick was released, Eldritch, Inspector Border decks, like all those other decks, had Skill Drain at 3, had Gozen at 3, had Rivalry at 3, had TCB at 3, right? And yet, even with all those floodgates at 3, Eldritch was still not the best deck. It was a strong deck, yes, but it was not the best deck. It was nowhere close to the best deck, nowhere near as many people playing it, did not top the Duelist Cups. So what changed between not having Runick cards and having Runick cards? The most obvious answer, if you're not an idiot, is the Runick cards. The Runick cards is what changed, right? So the problem was not the floodgates, it was the fucking Runick cards. If you look at any Runick deck profile, like 90% of their cards are Runick cards. They're not floodgates, right? Floodgates make up like what, 8 out of 40 cards. That's not even close to half the cards in their deck, right? So the problem was never floodgates, and yet apparently Komani and the mouth breathers on the Master Duel subreddits and communities will have you think that, oh yes, Runick is not the problem, right? I mean, they're semi-limiting Runick because I guess they sort of acknowledge that it's kind of problematic. That's also why we got cards like Pot of Duality too for the most random fucking reason ever. Runick is the problem. It's not the floodgates. Again, you can't tell me one deck before Runick was released that topped anything, be it ranked ladders or whatever, or that was wildly played like Runick, when all the floodgates were at 3, right? You just can't tell me what, because it didn't exist. Like, there just isn't one. It didn't happen, right? So floodgates were not topping or winning the Duelist Cup or whatever, floodgate decks, stun decks, whatever you want to call them. The only thing that changed is they introduced Runick. That means Runick is the problem. The floodgates are not the problem. But alas, maybe Konami will eventually realize that once they have to limit all the Runick cards to 1. Once all the main Runick cards, Fountain, Tip, Destruction, Flashing Fire, whatever, get limited to 1, then they'll realize, okay, Runick is, was the problem after all, right? And then maybe we'll get floodgates back. Who knows? It doesn't matter. The point is that it's very clear, if you're not small brain, that Runick is the problem, not the floodgates. So yeah, that's what I'm most. So 2 things I'm annoyed about in this list: the lack of Runick hits and the lack of Tearlaments preemptive hits. Tearlaments is releasing in April, by the way. So this is the first ban list we will experience with Tearlaments, right? Tearlaments, which will be a full power on release, with the only limits to it being all the Shizu cards at 2, which literally doesn't matter. Orange Light to 1, and that's it. Full power otherwise, right? Tearlaments we're gonna get in April. And it's just mind-blowing to me. Like, even Snow is still around. Like, Chaos Ruler is still around. Like, so much is still... Like, this is going to be a nightmare in terms of, like, Tearlaments. The silver lining is that there's a lot of ways to stop Tearlaments, right? I mentioned before, Necro Valley is going to... By the way, no. Where's Metaverse? Why is Metaverse still at 1? I have yet to hear a single argument why Metaverse should still be at 1. Like, there's no Mystic Mine in Master Duel. Metaverse is at 3 in the OCG. Metaverse is at 3 in the TCG. Mystic Mine is banned in all 3 those formats. Why is Metaverse still at 1 in the? I'll never understand. I have no idea why Metaverse is at 1. But yeah, so Necro Valley is going to be big. Soul Drain is going to be big, right? Yeah, Tearlaments, it's just going to be a nightmare. It's like all over again. So yeah, I'm very surprised they didn't preemptively hit Instant Fusion. They didn't hit Snow. They didn't hit Chaos Ruler. They didn't limit these Shizu cards. They just, you know what? We're gonna let Tearlaments be full power on release, or near full power. Although I think the rumor is Tearlaments comes at the end of April, and it's possible we'll get a new ban list in May that will address Tearlaments, possibly. But I'm pretty sure, yeah. But I'm pretty sure, based on all the leaks and everything that I heard, that Tearlaments will be coming out in April, probably in the latter half. And if this is the ban list that we're going to experience Tearlaments for the first time, that's very frightening, right? So yeah, I guess we'll see. Unless they'll realize what a mistake they made. But yeah, Runick will still continue to be obnoxious as hell. By the way, Imperial Iron Wall still at 3. So yeah, like, again, we're just replacing one floodgate, like, so really we lost what, 1 skill drain and 1 goes in from our Labrynth deck. So we'll replace them with, like, either more copies of TCB or maybe Soul Drain or Necro, whatever. I'll go back to the lab and work on Labrynth later. But the point is that Runick is not going away with this ban list. It's still going to be a nuisance. It's still going to be obnoxious. Like, yeah. So hopefully they'll realize that these hits are doing nothing, right? Like, why didn't they hit Messenger of Peace? You know what I'm saying? Like there's, it's just so random. Like, these lists do not make sense. Necro Valley and Herald are probably the 2 most sense making, and actually most of the unlimits, like Multi-Faker, Oviraptor, Super Poly 3, yeah, all fine. Like, all these cards at 3 are fine. But, like, it's just, for Sprite, they preemptively hit Toad and Unincare, which is correct, but now they're not really preemptively hitting it other than Orange Light, but Orange Light is already problematic because of Ishizu, and same with Necroface. Although Necroface, honestly, is only a problem because of Fairy Tail Snow. Necro Valley is not a problem. It's at 3 in the TCG. I'm pretty sure it's at 3 in the OCG. Necroface is not a problem. It's only a problem because of Fairy Tail Snow. That's it. If you ban Fairy Tail Snow, which you should, then it suddenly not really a problem anymore. So anyway, so that's my reaction. Yeah, kind of a lackluster, mediocre ban list. I was honestly expecting a lot more. Also, what did Flandres do to deserve this? Like, what is going on here? Like, I barely see Flandres players, like I said, and when I see it, they always lose. Like, this is just sad what they're doing to Flandres. Honestly, like, once they should have stopped at the statue. Like, honestly, banning the barrier statue was the best thing they could have done. They could put map at 3, they could put prosperity at 3, they could put everything else at 3 for like D-shifter, and flu would still not be as big a nuisance because they don't have the barrier statue anymore. But anyway, so that's my take. That's my reaction. Yeah, we're still gonna top with Labrynth. We're still gonna get to Diamond 1 with Labrynth. Uh, you know, I mean, I did it with Crystal Beast on my last Adventures of. We're gonna do it with Labrynth because I'm gonna show you that these floodgates hits mean nothing to us. Like they mean nothing to us, right? We're still gonna win. Especially since like with the format gonna be changing. Like, we're gonna be using different floodgates anyways. Who cares? So yeah, stay tuned for that video, for those climbing videos. For those of you wondering why I haven't made as many videos, I have a YCS coming up. I had a wedding last weekend that I was attending. It was not my wedding. Some people were congratulating me on my wedding. I did not get married, folks. If I did, I wouldn't be making freaking videos about children's card games on YouTube, right? Like, I would be in a honeymoon right now. I'd be, you know, actually, whatever. But, yeah, it was my friend's wedding. It was not my wedding. Yeah, so I'm going to LA this weekend for obviously, you know, the YCS there. I am playing Labrynth, obviously. Stay tuned for stuff. So if you haven't seen stuff, because I've been in the lab, folks. I've been busy. I've had stuff with work. I have traveling planning. I've just been busy. Okay, like I did my obligations with Master Duel. Got to the max level Duelist Cup. Got to Diamond 1. I did my obligations there, right? I just gotta, you know, make sure I get through the end of March here. Things will get a little better in April because I have a lot less going on. I mean, and then I'll get back to grinding. I'll do my grind again to Diamond 1. Yeah, so stay tuned for all that. But yeah, very lackluster ban list, honestly. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with Tearlaments. Let's see the Master Duel players cry about Tearlaments once it gets released, because yeah, that Tearlaments is a problem deck that is going to be released during this ban list. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. See you in the next video. Peace.